Master Grade Build Strike Gundam. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert, 184, 2Rs2Bs, gundam.tk, and you've seen the unbox and the parts for this Master Grade Build Strike Gundam first lead from Build Fighters. Yodisei's got it all put together. Rage is just anxiously waiting to hop into the cockpit /VR/PS8 that we all wish we had. So did Yodisei change enough? Well, visually, on first impressions, I'd say yes. Now half of this is becoming because I built it. But at the same time, take a look at those ankles. They're going to be looking totally different, front, back, and side. The blue on the knees are definitely going to look a little bit different than just being on top of the gray. Plus, that other white armor is a nice change. The red is definitely going to be popping on the side skirts, whether you see it from the front, back, or the sides. But it's got to be all about the shoulders and that upper body, as the remaster did a great job of incorporating a lot of details into a closed area. But look at the sides of the shoulders there, the yellow pieces, the red with those little pieces of gray. But of course, it's that unique head sculpt. This, so far, is looking distinct enough to have a very nice place as a respected lead, albeit a somewhat less than unique one. But it's time for bad guys to take a break. As it's docking time, they do, after all, give you the full package here. And with this, weight issues, as you'd expect, easy to fix by just straightening up the legs or at least moving them back. But what do you think of this guy? Overall, I'm a little bit torn. I think it looks good. It's definitely a little bit more outstanding than the Ale Striker pack. Remember, this guy's already got the red in terms of his shoulders, so the blue is definitely going to be helping offset it in the back. But what about the white? I think it looks great compared to the high grade, no doubt about that. The cannons are going to be visible from the front and very much from the sides, as you can see there. The folded down cockpit is just waiting for an actual pilot. But overall, the nice little yellow details, it's going to be looking good. I just have to think that it's perhaps a little bit too far displaced in terms of front to back, and it just doesn't look quite as sharp as some of the awesome backpacks that we've seen over the years between Freedom, Strike, and Destiny. Where would you rank this? For posability, it's what you'd expect from the Strike remastered frame. You can see that the side skirt's not going to move all that much, but that knee is going to look fantastic as it comes down. The ankles move very well, front to back, and you can see that the toe has a little bit of independent movement of its own. The upper body is not collapsing so far under the weight of the backpack. You can see that he can still stay. Nope, he can't. So a few weight problems there. The shoulders are very, very well designed. You can see that they're going to be going up and down. For these big red ones, though, you'll notice that they're not going to move up and down as much as you might expect. The elbows, however, are going to do a very nice 180, if only you could raise his fingers for a hello. Height comparison, we're starting them off next to some of the big boys. You've got Arthur Reiji, full frontal here in his Shinanju. This is the OVA version, and you can just see that the regular height, when you're talking 18, 19 meter Gundams over there, the Strike is exactly where it should be. And even with the help of the Freedom wings going over his shoulders, he's not going to be stacking up to the big UC boys. And though Garrett's head height has been a little bit shortened because of his leg pose there, well, I'd say that the heights are lining up exactly where they should be with these recent Master Grades. Great proportions all around. The X looking thin and mid-90s-ish, as it should. The Strike bringing things back to the bigger size at the start of the 2000s. But in terms of backpack, no, the X is still going to take the edge in terms of impressiveness, not to mention firepower. But joining in to a long, proud line dating back to Amuro's great-granddaddy of them all, the RX-78-2, in its 3.0 form here, you can definitely see some similarities in terms of just the amount of work in there. However, remember, we could have a 3.0 of these down the line in terms of the Strikes getting in the multi-colors a la the real grades. Of course, the number one comparison that has to be made is between Kira Yamato's regular Strike and Yodisei's take on it, the Build one here. In Master Grades, both looking very good thanks to that RM frame that got us a lot of bad guys as well. First of all, well, you're going to see the big differences down on the ankles, the knees, the side skirts. The red is definitely going to be popping, and the Strike shoulders definitely make him stand out, but the red and the points, maybe even more so over here for the Build Strike, and I'd say that their unique heads both have their charms, and they do look pretty unique enough to make me happy anyway. But though I haven't been too keen on the Build Booster so far as a backpack, I think it just looks okay. Compared to the all-flatness, when you're looking straight on at the L Striker, you're just going to see a straight line across, not all that exciting. Now, the RM is going to help you. If you get it up rotating or up in the air, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with it. But overall, this does sort of look like 10 years of progress, you might say. For posing now, usually you'd have a sharp-looking beam rifle in there, but I gotta say that beam gun is not bad. Actually, that should be moved forward. It's in its transform mode at the moment. The wings at the back, you've got a couple options in terms of moving them around here, up and down as well, but there's not going to be too many dynamic options. I think what's more interesting overall is what's happening with his left hand, with the shield totally loaded up, so if you want to go for the big cannon or the proper beam rifle, the options are there with him in space, not needing to be delivered by a silhouette or anything else. The gun's been lengthened into the rifle there, and the cannon's just taken a break. Experimenting here with the backpack, because there are so many moving parts there, if you're not happy with the angle that they're going to be built at going straight up, well, you do have some options bringing them down a little bit. They're not looking all that bad. The beam rifle, yeah, it's all gray, but it is a nice design, especially when you get up close. And the colors in the shield are definitely helping it pop. It's sort of funny, this guy has toppled back on me a couple times, but he's been propped up, thank you, F91. And I'm having more fun than expected with the angles that are available to you with the backpack. You can get that windswept look, which makes no sense in space. But how about that for the cannon? Well, first of all, the barrels are looking dull, but the fact that you've got the white and the gray, the green seals up at the front are going to be looking pretty sharp, and the shoulders slightly problematic still in terms of the posing, but the overall quality of the frame on the inside allowing the arms to do their 180 bends, no problem getting two hands on it. And here I'm just playing around with the wings being tilted down into their regular flight position, making a little bit more Alish, but it's the kind of thing when you play Gundam versus Gundam, whichever version it may be, it's just exciting to think about the options in terms of flying, shooting, and melee. Would they be twisting down? It's the kind of thing that at least you can have some fun with imagining it when you're choosing what pose to put on your shelf. But with the help of the action base, the same one that's going to keep the build booster up in the air, lots of angles available both for the wings, and you can see with the many points of movement down there on the arms that it's very, very easy, I want to call them Vespers, to bring them forward. The red grips I think look fantastic, and they've got a unique look to them. Easy to get the hands around there thanks to the flexibility of the elbows. The shoulder's not really impeding it whatsoever, but this is the kind of thing. The BB Senshi has the gimmick of throwing it up over the shoulders, but this is exactly what I think an aerial Gundam should look like. It's just going to be a question of which one do you go for your posing. Shield, big cannon, beam rifle, or gun. But this one may actually last on my shelf. For some final thoughts for what could potentially just be a boring retread, well, Yodisei I think did enough, as did the plastic wizards at Bandai, to set this guy apart, that from the beginning to end, first of all, when you crack open the plates and you get to see all the new varieties, the colors, and just the lack of seals that's going to be going into the build booster, all sorts of pluses. The build itself, I've built the frame many times, never tired of it, and this one no exception. And I think this guy looks fantastic when you put him together as the Build Strike. Would anybody display him as Build Strike and then with the two different variations in terms of the booster and the Star Plavsky? Well, anyway, it just seems like maybe a little bit excessive, but I think he looks fantastic here. The only thing I feel he's missing is armored Schneiders, which you can go and borrow from anybody. The main armaments, I think, are great. The beam gun looks good. The beam rifle has lots of details into it. I love the play options, the fact that they can attach onto the shield oh so well. The beam cannon really sets himself apart, not just a regular bazooka, and they did give us the extra white to go along with the gray there. You've got the ability to get him up aerial, and compared to the L Striker pack, the build booster, say what you will about it, but at least it can look like a functional aircraft, and if you want to display it this way, you can, and it looks good on the back. At first I felt it was frozen like this, and I wasn't too pleased with the angles, but you really do have a lot of different options, and I think it's going to look good, no matter what angle you put it at, and it's the kind of thing where this guy is definitely a worthy successor, I'd say. So what about the future? Well, there's lots of possibilities out there all the way up. We've already got the Harry Ord Universe booster, but what about would they ever go PG with this? Take the MG and turn it into a PG with the new shoulders, knees, etc. They know exactly how much re-engineering would be needed based on the master grade here. Overall, though, this was a lot of fun to put together. I'd love to see what variations we get in the near future for it, or in the distant future. So please let me know your speculation, your thoughts about this compared to the high grade, and this compared to the Universe Booster, and stick around to see that put on. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Okay, let's see if I could do this off the top of my head. Regular Strike, Armin Schneider's Bazooka, Launcher, Sword, Ale, IWSP, the different colors, and you've got regular Build Strike, full package over here, Plavsky Wings, Rouge, and all of its variations. Oh, Tori, there are a lot of strikes. Never mind the Freedoms, the Noirs, and beyond.